Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Hey guys. Yeah, we're at Kudos's lair, and while Kudos is doing who knows what, and is probably coming up with some plan to finally stop us once we break in. I'm keeping an eye on the Vic, and has anything happened in there yet? Nope, not at all. Nothing. I mean, nothing interesting has happened. Might as well check out what the next chapter is. Rainbow Dash proceeded to pull out the next chapter. Her eyes stand wide in absolute terror at the amount of words. 17 Plop! I think even Twilight would give up at this point on these chapters. Twilight rolled her eyes as he pulled her away from the magical locked door. Not likely. And then proceeded to continue to deactivate the spell. Applejack rubbed her forehead with her hose. Oh, for crying out loud. Look, we're not all saying that long chapters are bad. Oh, that would be hypocritical considering how long some of the chapters on Fall got. That's fine. Fall Equestria, well known for having long chapters, and then there's 7 Days in Sunny June. Those have had some really long chapters. Indeed, Rarity said, stepping up. Some of the chapters on 7 Days in Sunny June make these chapters pale in comparison, some of them reaching up to 18,000 words. So, I suppose the question of the hour is, why are those chapters so loved by Legendbringer, but every single one of these are such a slog to walk through, to the point where everybody is just bored. All the actors here are bored. Rainbow Dash shrugged. Is it just because we're awesome? No, that can't be it. Oh, I think I know. It's caring. Elzak could only nod at Fluttershy's words. Yeah, you're right. See, 7 Days worked its way up to the longer chapters. So by the time these chapters reached that limit, we actually started caring about the characters in there. We cared about what was going on with Sunset. We cared about the human counterparts. So by that time, we actually didn't mind the longer chapters. It's a Stetson kept saying. If this story started out differently, he probably would have been able to sit through all 58 chapters and all the words, but it didn't. Kramer danced arched an eyebrow. William's body start differently. Like, what? Rarity put her hoof to her chin. Well, it's kind of like this. When you're eating a big pizza, you usually start for the tip. That way you can work your way up to the bigger parts. In a fanfic, you need to start with something small. Pinkie Pie bounced up and nodded. I get. Like, if the fanfic started off with us having to sit through Twilight's problems, then we would have cared a little more. Exactly. If this chapter instead started off with the second half of Pilot, where we proceeded to see all of Twilight's problems, while it wouldn't have been as good because it would still be bad and it would still be cliche to say, oh, Twilight's an icon now, everything's wrong. It still would have had something to get us going, make us want to know more about Twilight. And then, once there was this mystery set up by either Discord or Celestia, or even the civilians, then we would be more interested into what's going on. Make us see it through the POV of Twilight and us. Emma crossed her front hose over her chest and leaned against a tree and sighed. Yeah, I can see that. These chapters really just started us off with, ooh,
there's this random alicorn who had to survive Diamond Dogs, and then, there's this other guy. Without really getting to us until at least the second chapter. Aren't we supposed to be the main characters in this story? Aren't we supposed to be like the focal point and the protags and all that? Even when you're starting off a chapter with a story based off of one of the many money OCs we created over the years, even then, they started with their perspective first. So I took a little break and looked around. Look at Fallen Equestria. We know nothing about Little Pip until much later, but it does start off from her perspective. So that way we know, okay, different pony, different story, we can follow her. By not doing this, it really gives us no reason. It makes the villain OC seem like they're intruders into the story. It would be like if you spent an entire chapter of a Sailor Moon fic with the villain Stojur and didn't get to Usagi until chapter 3. Why should we care about these characters when we know nothing about them? This is a fanfic. This is supposed to be a story based off a property we like. Not, oh, here are bad guys to sure. Exactly. And that is why these chapter lengths too long. That's why it all feels like a slog. Even on Fall of Starfleet, Leatherbringer made sure that we were prominent in the photos. We took the center stage. Even then, Rarity walked around. Leatherbringer has always pointed out that he can shorten Fall of Starfleet and turn them into at least 6,000 word chapters and turn them into a 50 or 100 episode anime. If he truly wanted. Mm-hmm. He knows how to split it up. He also knows that sometimes some of these chapters do get very long, but there has to be a good plot to them. Even in Fallout Equestria, there is action that actually pushes us through. Yes. You mean this fic had action? The girls not shook their head before Rainbow Dash gonna laugh. Ha! Yeah, that's the other reason why this is a slog. It hasn't been character. It hasn't been action. If all those were there, we'd be fine. Heck, even if this was a bad fic, like say one of Micah's works, and it had that length, we would be fine. But nope. We've had nothing but word after word after word after word of exposition. As a matter of fact, I'll be right back. I'm going to skim through this 17,000 word behemoth, and I'll let you girls know if there is anything beyond just more exposition. Even though, we're like 44 chapters in, I think we're expositing it out. Whoa, look at that mare go. Applejack said, watching Rainbow Dash flying down the scroll bar as he goes through word after word. Indeed, I've never seen a battle go so quick, Rarity said, nodding and smiling. For a second, Rainbow Dash had to quickly pause and pant. Applejack took a step forward. You okay there, Sugar Cube? Almost halfway done. Anything interesting happening yet? No. It's just us talking while we're in prison. No trying to figure out how to escape. No using our brains. We're just sitting around and waiting for Spike to come along and save our butts. Oh, here I go for round 2. While Rainbow Dash is traveling down that store like nobody's business, the problem? I know I've realized one of the problems with the world building of the story. Verity, oh no, what is it? She said, taking out some tea. In the distance, Twilight could be heard shouting, "What? Third level done!" Man, Kudos knows what he's doing. This is a quadruple layer. Twilight's voice as he begins to brag about Kudos' remarkable spell locking skills. Aside, Rarity continued. What is your problem with the world building? Well, we've already explored just how it's all wrong. It feels more like a Ruby story without being Ruby. But I think one of the problems SD has is that I'm betting she never asks the scariest words imaginable to a writer or somebody who writes for a living or any comic book writer.
Oh, what scary words adults?
Be by asking for a tree. I was at Ruther Stetson. Listenbringer has a theory that two of the scariest words that a writer could ever ask or be heard to ask is why and how. Because once you start asking those words, you're going to have to start wondering and trying to figure out how. And depending on how good of a writer you are, you can either start tripping up at this point and start coming up with a whole bunch of cockamamie expositions, which is just going to take your plot hole and make it bigger and make it bigger until finally the fic just falls in on itself. Or, if you're good, you can actually do a solid explanation that would actually satisfy people. He's done that with all of his reviews. And sometimes when he's writing, he actually sits down and actually asks himself that question, just to make sure he can actually respond to it. Oh, like that one time when lightning got stabbed to the chest by Raimi. And and he asked himself, why didn't Stardust create a portal? And had one of us actually fit in that portal? Exactly. He routinely asks himself this whenever he writes a story. He actually asks how and why, trying to explore that, because he knows that people will ask these questions himself. And he asks these questions as well. And a lot of times, he can find a good fic that does ask that. What's more, not only does he ask those, he also finds that the less time he actually asks those questions, the more he's actually into the story. And brother, he's been asking himself a lot of these questions ever since this fic got started. Like, right, he asks, looking up, why on earth are there wild zones? I mean, how did you get through? How did any of us manage to get from one town to the next if there are all these wild zones that almost kill ponies? Why is Twilight having so many problems? Why can't she just ask Celestia to make a royal order? Hey, leave me alone. How is it that Twilight was able to go on for so long without asking Rainbow Dash for training? Why is it that Pinky's dad is so racist when we've never seen it explained in the show? Just wondering, how is it that nobody is noticing the Wendigos? Shouldn't they be coming by now? Exactly my point. You start asking these questions in this type of fic, your story starts falling apart, especially this. And especially when you're trying to add things that doesn't make sense to the world, and boom, frame of desk flew back. Okay, checked all of that 17,000 word monster. It's just us talking about our fifis. Which, wouldn't be so bad. There are a lot of great fics where we talk about our fifis. But this story has messed us up so much. Because it just won't let us breathe. So thus, we don't care about ourselves. Not only that, but it's messed us up so much that we don't even resemble our characters. So we might as well be just total strangers. You might as well be Appletini. Rarity might as well be a cardboard cutout. Pinkie Pie might as well be just an emo twit. Fluttershy might as well just be mixed cries a lot. No, you're not Fluttershy. Deal with it. And Twilight might as well be a Gundam pilot for all the emo broodings he's been doing. Twilight pulls her head away. I personally prefer to be an Ava pilot. does not work. It does with 7 Days of Sunny June, where we've made sure to care about the characters, fine, but it doesn't. And this story continues to hit us with wall after wall after wall after wall after wall of text that it just boggles the mind that SD could actually sit here and think, yes, this is how I want my characters to speak. When they don't, they just go on and on and on. These are called run-on sentences. I'm surprised somebody's pointing this out. And of course, the chapter afterwards has the cream of the crop, Spike Angst. Oh, God! Oh, dear me, no, no, no! You know, Mike gets to feel right at home with these guys. They love giving Spike about as much angst as a normal Mikey character. And he's not that. But they're pulling out this whole entire betrayal and all that. Starting to think that maybe Lauren Fausto does let Spike behind and turn him into a little brother or something. Then these things would stop popping up every damn time a thick writer wants to go deep and create some sort of deep meaning by turning Spike into his personal. Ah! Applejack Press Tuesday. Small pillow for Rainbow Dash to collapse on. At that point, there was a loud as Charlie Turner walked back to the group. There we go. Seal's broken. We can go in now. And, oh, why is Rainbow Dash crossed on a pillow? Applejack sighed. Spike cakes. Spike then found her eyebrow twitching as he went, Spike, angst. Nope, nope. Okay, girls. We're speaking through the rest of this chapter, and then we're going inside. Let's go. Come on. Nope, nope. Not doing this. Nope. And this is just Spike angst, are we? Finally, okay, only grumble. After your 30th time of hearing Spike angst, yes. As they moved in, Twilight could be heard grumbling, I have better things to do than sit through Spike being freaking Snake from Metal Gear Solid and having a whole ton of Spike angst for the 365th time! Elsewhere, Kodos sat in his lab table, eating another jelly bean, before turning back to me. So tell me, Legend, does it hurt? What does? Being stuck in this cage? Watching you mess with all these ponies in this fic? Watching you do all these various tortures to them? No, 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 no. Does it hurt when you hate on something that's popular, that you consider better written than you? Trypich, My Little Pony, Luffy's Adventures in Equestria, Spiders and Magic, that set of crossovers with various superheroes. Does it hurt when you look at the comments from people you actually respect, or you hear reviews and they say it's grand and it's glorious, and you find yourself alone in hating it and despising it, or worse yet, that the people who do join you in hating are people you don't like, that you don't respect? What are you talking about? On the Discord, Orangal and Rebel hate it, and I love them. I respect them a lot. They're great. They're great friends, and I enjoy their company. Heck, a lot of people on the Discord are good friends of mine. No, 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 no. Those people are your friends, yes. Those people you enjoy being with, sure. I'm not talking about them, though I would love to hunt them down one day. No, 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 no. Yes, Legend. I am actually talking about your rivers. I do know that there's one on there who despises Esty and hates this fic as much as he hates you. And we all both know you don't like him, so I have to know. How does that make you feel? Eh, it happens. We can't all like the same thing. We can't all love something. I know that there are tons of people who love Zack Dyer's Justice League and say, "Oh, it's the greatest thing ever." Well, I feel like I'm just looking at a depressing black and white sob story for about over 3 hours. I can hear people say, Oh, The Boys is so great, so mesmerizing. Homelander's such a great character, and I feel like telling these people, yeah, look, I've laughed at these jokes when they were done by Captain Hero from Drawn Together, which I might add, I find Drawn Together to be way more funny, and its dirty jokes to be way better done. But it happens. These guys are seeing something I just don't. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it can be, but they're just seeing what I don't. And that's okay. There are tons of anime I do the same. I've said this before and I say it again. There's no problem of liking or hating something. The only problem comes when you come out and say, "You're an idiot for not liking this," or "You like slop. You only desire slop. You're just gonna eat slop. You're just gonna eat whatever Disney gives you," or something like that. Being told that is just showing that you respect the other person's opinion. Being told that just shows off that you're being mean and you are not respecting a thing they're saying. Best way to show respect is just go, okay, and walk away. Or just let the person tell you what they like or don't like. And then just take it in. No need to tell them that they're idiots or that they're just slop or that they're wrong. Just go ahead. So when I see these people liking this, all I can just go is, all right, and just shrug. I don't know what they see in it, but I do love it when the people who like these stories do tell me what they love about it. On the subject of The Boys, I do frequent The Boys subreddit, and I've read reviews, and I've seen people say that they like it because they find it's so subversive, or they think that Butcher is a good way to show how much revenge can destroy a person, or they say that Homelander is a good example of falling to power, and that's fine. I don't see it, but I do understand it. So for me, I can wait. A rebel in orange not listening? Yes. Look at you! There's a little password. If maybe you could. And that'll be enough of that. Shit! Oh, you people listeners, just sit back and relax. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the story. Adieu.